Rejected by his pregnant wife, a millionaire CEO's life changes when he encounters her rival. Jonathan Blake stood frozen in the shadow of his glass skyscraper, the bright Chicago sun reflecting his internal chaos. His heart raced as he replayed Emma's whispered words in his mind, "I can't do this anymore." Rejected, abandoned, his pregnant wife had just shattered his world. The walls he had built to rise as a self-made millionaire CEO now felt like chains holding him in despair. He glanced at the bustling streets below, the city alive with ambition and desire, a stark contrast to the void in his heart. Once, all he could see was the glittering path of wealth and success, but at what cost? As tears pricked at the corners of his eyes, memories of laughter and love filled his mind. The warm embrace of Emma, how she glowed when they talked about baby names. His relentless pursuit of success had pushed her away. The reality hit him like a freight train, the life he carefully constructed crumbled around him. Jonathan felt a deepening ache in his chest. Could he really lose her, lose this child they had wanted so desperately? He couldn't breathe. In that moment, it was clear, he was losing everything that truly mattered. On a whim, Jonathan found himself driving to the neighborhood where he grew up. As he parked in front of a small bakery, the warm, sweet smell enveloped him, calling back memories of comfort. Sarah, an old friend, welcomed him with a smile that could melt the coldest heart. Her bakery radiated warmth, just like her spirit. They reminisced about simpler times, laughter bouncing off the walls. "You're always welcome here, Jonathan," she said, her tone genuine, as if to ground him back to what really mattered. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. With each moment spent with Sarah, Jonathan rediscovered values he thought he could live without. They collaborated to save the local community center from being torn down, pouring their hearts into everything they did. With each pizza delivery or bake sale, he could feel his spirit healing. He began to understand what it meant to connect, to give back. But just as he reached for greater understanding, the past came roaring back. His world shattered anew when he saw a news photo of Emma smiling beside Nathan, his business rival and now her romantic companion. The betrayal cut deep. Anxiety clawed at him, twisting his gut. His empire felt insignificant compared to the love they once shared. Jonathan took a deep breath, trying to drown out the chaos in his mind. Was he really the man who had let it all slip away? He struggled between anger and shame. The charity event he planned to attend loomed large, bringing Nathan ever closer. As he dressed that evening, he acknowledged the tears threatening to spill. They were not just tears of loss but of the man he longed to become. Standing before the mirror, he felt a spark of determination to redefine himself. He had to confront Nathan. Could he salvage his love, or was he destined to chase shadows forever? Jonathan stepped into the gathering crowd, heart pounding with anticipation. The stakes had never been higher. Would he seize this moment or let his chance for redemption fade away? The evening stretched ahead, a crossroads of love, ambition, and authenticity waiting to unfold. The air was thick with chatter, laughter, and the clinking of glasses, but all Jonathan could focus on was the sight of Nathan across the room. He leaned against the bar, a picture of confidence, a gleam in his eye that made Jonathan's stomach churn. It felt wrong, like a kick to the gut, to see the man who had taken everything from him chatting easily with guests as if he wasn't the precipice of Jonathan's despair. Jonathan took a deep breath and smoothed his shirt, reminding himself of the resolve he felt earlier. He was tired of hiding in the shadows of his own life. It was time to reclaim his story. Pushing through the crowd, he felt the sting of anger rising within him. He had to confront Nathan, to demand answers, to see if there was a glimmer of hope left for Emma and him. "Jonathan." A cheerful voice interrupted his thoughts. It was Sarah, the warmth of her presence almost a refuge. "I'm so glad you came." "Thanks, Sarah. I needed a distraction, I guess." He forced a smile, its authenticity slipping away the moment his eyes drifted back to Nathan. "Just remember, you're here for more than just him," she said softly, her hand on his arm, grounding him. "You're here for you." He nodded, acknowledging her support but still feeling a tide of frustration and uncertainty rise within him. As he fought through the crowd, the noise seemed to fade, leaving only the drum of his heartbeat echoing in his ears. Finally, he reached Nathan. The man turned, surprise crossing his features, quickly replaced by a cocky grin. "Jonathan Blake. The prodigal CEO has returned. What can I do for you tonight?" "Cut the small talk, Nathan," Jonathan shot back, his voice steady despite the storm of emotions inside. "I want to know what you think you're doing with Emma." Nathan's laughter was mocking, a sharp contrast to the tension that had built between them. "Is that jealousy I hear? You really should have fought for her better instead of burying yourself in your work. Don't you dare speak about her like that. You have no idea what we've been through." Jonathan's fists clenched at his sides, the anger melting into desperation. "You're not better than me, and you never will be. Isn't that sweet?" Nathan countered, leaning in slightly. "But you're wrong. I'm what she needs now. A man who is present, supportive. Not lost in a tower of gold." The words hit Jonathan hard. The truth wrapped around him tightly, making it hard to breathe. He wasn't just competing with Nathan, he was battling against every choice he had made that had led to this moment. Emma deserved someone who could be there for her when she needed it most. Before he could respond, the loudspeaker crackled, drawing the crowd's attention. "Ladies and gentlemen, we'll begin our charity auction in 15 minutes. With a burst of determination, Jonathan seized the moment. "Nathan, if she means anything to you, let her go. You're not what she thinks you are." He stepped back, breathing heavily as he prepared to walk away. As he turned to retreat into the crowd, Jonathan caught a glimpse of Emma approaching, her gaze locked on him, concern etched into her features. Her presence was electric, the pain and love mingled in the air, a palpable threat against the walls he debuilt. "Jonathan. Wait." He hesitated, heart racing, faced with the choice of either confronting her feelings or retreating into his turmoil. What would she say? Did she still care? The moment hung, heavy with unanswered questions and untold emotions. Would he face the truth or slip away once more into the shadows? Emma's voice reached him, tentative but strong. "I need to talk to you." Waves of uncertainty crashed against him, but the hope flickered as bright as the city lights outside. What would happen next? Jonathan felt the world around him fade as he turned to face Emma. Her eyes, bright and searching, held a mix of fear and determination. She stepped closer, the clamor of the party dimming to a background hum. This was it, everything hung in the balance now. "Emma," he started, but she quickly cut him off. "I can't just stand by and watch this happen." Her voice was low, urgent. "I thought we could work through things, but then I see how easily Nathan plays you like a pawn. I want to let him dictate our future." Jonathan's heart raced. She still cared. It wasn't too late. "We can fix this. We can be happy again. I know I messed up, but there are things you don't understand," she said, her brows knitting together. "What do you mean?" A knot tightened in his stomach. Each word felt critical, the stakes rising with every breath. "Just tell me. Please." Emma hesitated, glancing around as if the larger world was closing in on them. I saw Nathan in the office the other day. He was looking for you. That is not news, Jonathan replied, confusion washing over him. He is always lurking. But what did he want? He said things about you, about us. Her voice trembled, almost breaking. He told me you were too far gone. That you've changed. I didn't want to believe him, but... A rush of frustration surged through Jonathan. So what? You were going to let him win? Let him tell you who I am? No, I was going to protect myself. I thought you were making a choice, choosing work over us. I felt like I was losing you. Her eyes glistened with unshed tears, and the sight rekindled a flicker of hope. And then... I found out I was pregnant. His heart skipped. What? The world spun around him. That changes everything. It's not just a baby, Jonathan. It's about us, she said, her voice steadying. I want this, but only if you want it too. Because with Nathan hanging around, I feel like I can't go on like this. A wave of protectiveness hit him. You need to tell him to stay away. You and the baby are my priority now. I'm going to fight for you, for us. Can you, though? Emma swallowed hard, searching his face for the truth. It can't just be talk this time. Emma, I'm terrified of losing you, he confessed, fierce determination washing over him. I've changed. You make me want to be a better man. But I need you to trust me. Their eyes locked, and for a moment, it felt like the past slipped away, replaced by a tentative connection fueled by shared hope. Then she nodded, almost imperceptibly. I want to believe in us, Jonathan, she whispered, stepping closer as if testing the waters. But I need you to show me, to stand up to Nathan right now. Before he could respond, Sarah's voice rang out from the crowd, calling to him. Jonathan. The auction is starting soon. Come join us. The sudden external urgency pulled Jonathan back from the brink. Emma's anxiety was palpable, it anchored him, reminding him of the choice he had to make. Jonathan turned to her, adrenaline coursing through him, determination reigniting in his chest. I'll be right back. Just wait a moment. Emma sighed, the weariness of her struggle evident. Just don't take too long. He nodded, knowing that whatever happened in the next few moments could either breach the chasm that had formed or widen it even further. With a last look, Jonathan strode away, focus narrowing on Nathan. He had his chance now, and he wasn't going to waste it. Nathan needed to realize Jonathan was not just a businessman, but a man willing to fight for his family. As he approached Nathan again, the air crackled with unresolved tension. This time, he wouldn't back down so easily. But would Nathan play his final card, one Jonathan wasn't prepared for? The silence between them felt like a storm waiting to break. Jonathan felt the weight of the room pressing down on him as he stepped closer to Nathan. The sounds of laughter and clinking glasses faded into a dull roar. All that mattered now was confronting the man who threatened the fragile world he and Emma were desperately trying to rebuild. Nathan stood casually by the bar, a smirk playing across his lips as Jonathan approached. Well, if it isn't the man of the hour, Nathan said, his voice laced with mockery. Tell me, how is it being Mr. Family Man? I could never imagine you'd value that life over your precious career. Jonathan clenched his fists, the anger churning in his gut. You need to back off, Nathan. Emma and I have things to sort out, and you're not going to get in the way. Oh please, Nathan scoffed, leaning back against the bar, his confidence infuriating. She is carrying a child. But we both know that doesn't magically change who you are. You're still the same guy who puts ambition above everything else. The words cut deeper than Jonathan wanted to admit. He could feel the past creeping back, echoing Nathan's twisted perceptions. You don't know anything about me. Emma doesn't want you near her or the baby, he spat. So just step aside and let us figure this out. Nathan chuckled, the sound dripping with condescension. What is this? A fight for love? It's cute, really. But don't kid yourself. He stepped forward, his eyes glinting maliciously. If you think bulldozing through this will work, you're dead wrong. You'll lose her just like you lost everything else. In that moment, something inside Jonathan snapped. He could almost feel the walls of his resolve cracking, the vulnerability spilling out. I'm not going to lose her to you or anyone else. I'm going to be the man she deserves. Nathan raised an eyebrow, a mixture of amusement and surprise flashing across his face. You think you can just declare that? Life doesn't work that way. I'm her comfort, her support, while you can't even tell her you want this. Jonathan stepped closer, his voice lower but charged with intensity. You think she sees you as a comfort? She is afraid of being alone because of men like you. But I'm here now, and I'm not leaving. I will show her I'll prove every doubt wrong. As he spoke, Jonathan felt the truth of his own words thrumming through him. This wasn't just about Emma, it was about reclaiming the man he wanted to be not just for her, but for their baby. Suddenly, Jonathan noticed the crowd around them, eyes darting toward their confrontation, whispers rising like a tide. He glanced at Emma from across the room and saw the worry etched on her face. That look was enough to fuel his fight. Do you know, deep down, you can't compete with what we had. Jonathan said, forcing a layer of calm over his fury. You want to win this, Nathan. I'll be there for her and our child. You don't stand a chance. In that moment, Jonathan turned his back on Nathan, ready to return to Emma. He could almost feel Nathan's fury pouring like ice behind him. But he didn't look back. He needed to focus on what lay ahead. As he walked back towards Emma, adrenaline coursed through his veins. He didn't just want to win her back, he needed to convince her that he could be the man she believed he could be. But as he reached her, Jonathan's heart sank. Emma looked uncertain, the tension radiating from her like heat. Would she trust him after everything? Were his words enough to break through? With the crowd still buzzing, Jonathan grasped her shoulders gently, forcing her to look at him. Emma, I'm serious. I'll show you I mean it. Her gaze softened, but doubt lingered, clouding her features. Can you really, Jonathan? With Nathan hovering like a hawk, how can I be sure? Just then, a commotion erupted at the far end of the venue, shouting, chaos. Jonathan's stomach dropped. This could change everything. What had he gotten himself into? The ultimatum loomed, and now the storm he had sensed was about to strike. He had to act fast, but would he be able to shield Emma from the fallout? Jonathan's heart raced as he turned to face the direction of the chaos. A group of partygoers had gathered, their faces twisted in shock and anger. He could barely make out the ruckus, but he had a sinking feeling it had something to do with Nathan. The very man he'd just tried to assert his strength against. Stay here, Jonathan said to Emma, his grip on her shoulders tightening for just a moment. She looked up at him, her eyes wide, filled with a mix of concern and confusion. He didn't want to leave her side, but something inside him screamed that he had to confront whatever was brewing in the crowd. I don't want you to, Emma began, but he was already moving away, steeling himself for what awaited him. As he pushed his way through the throng, the noise became clearer. Shouts, insults, and then a loud crash echoed, sending a wave of unease through him. Was this the aftermath of his confrontation with Nathan? Had he unknowingly escalated the situation? Finally, he reached the front. What he saw made his blood go cold. Nathan was in the center of it all, fingers gripping someone by the collar, another man, one Jonathan recognized from Emma's circle. Josh, a close family friend, looked furious, ready to retaliate. "Let go of me." Josh spat, his face reddened with anger. "You think you can just bully everyone because you think you have some sort of claim on Emma?" Jonathan's fists clenched at his sides. The tension amplified as he moved into view, his presence commanding attention. "Nathan!" he shouted, his voice slicing through the chaos. "What the hell do you think you're doing?" Nathan released Josh, who stepped back, eyes darting between the two men. "Just reminding him of his place," Nathan replied, confidence undeterred. "But you can take notes too, Jonathan. You might want to learn how to defend what is yours." Jonathan took a breath, feeling the weight of the moment. This was more than about him and Nathan, this was about being a father, about protecting Emma and the life they were trying to build together. "This isn't how you solve things," Jonathan said, his voice steady but filled with the intensity a father-to-be would show. "You're only proving how desperate you are." At this, a few onlookers murmured, sensing the shift. They could feel the heat rising as anger crackled between the two men like an electrifying storm. "Desperate?" Nathan laughed harshly, but Jonathan saw the flicker of uncertainty in his eyes. "I know what Emma needs. You don't have what it takes." Before Jonathan could respond, Emma suddenly appeared at his side, her presence a grounding force. "Enough!" she shouted, her voice clear over the commotion. The crowd hushed, all eyes on her. "Jonathan," she continued, turning to him, "this won't help. We have to go." "Please." His heart sank. Had all his bravado just made things worse? Had Nathan's poisonous words already poisoned Emma's heart against him? "Emma, wait," he said, stepping closer, searching her eyes for something. "I can't walk away. Not now. Emma. You need to choose." Nathan's voice cut through their moment, sour and venomous. The air felt thick, layered with uncertainty and hurt. They were all waiting. What would Emma say? Who would she choose in this chaotic moment between safety and danger, between past mistakes and hope for the future? Jonathan held his breath, feeling the weight of everything upon them, his fears, his hopes, and the turbulent storm of love they once had. He was ready to fight, not just for Emma, but for the family he yearned to build. But how would Emma respond? Would she see the truth in his eyes or be lost in the suffocating grip of doubt? The weight of the moment was unbearable. Would he be able to get the chance to prove himself, or was everything falling apart right before his eyes? Emma stood there, her eyes flickering between Nathan and Jonathan. They both stood with their chests out, ready to defend their honor, but she was the one caught in the crossfire. A whirlwind of emotions swirled inside her, fear, love, and anger all crashing together like waves on the shore. "Emma, please." Jonathan's voice was softer now, edged with a desperation that made her heart ache. "You know me. You know who I am, what I am." But Emma's gaze drifted back to Nathan, whose smug smile only ignited the fire within her. He was relentless, always had been, priding himself on his ability to manipulate others. "You think you can swoop in and play the hero?" Nathan taunted, stepping closer to Jonathan, hands balled into fists. "What makes you worthy, huh? A few empty words of bravado. Enough." Emma shouted again, her voice breaking through like thunder. The crowd murmured, surprised by her sudden authority. She wasn't just some spectator in this battle. No, she was the deciding factor. The silence enveloped them, tension hanging thick and heavy in the air. "Jonathan," she said, her voice trembling slightly, "I love you. I really do." She took a tentative step toward him, eyes glimmering with unshed tears. "But I can't let this turn into a fight. You need to walk away." She felt Jonathan's frustration radiate off him, his jaw tightening. "You don't truly want that, do you?" he asked, almost pleading, searching her face for an anchor. Emma, think about our future, about the life we're building. Not if it means tearing us apart right now. Her heart raced as Nathan watched gleefully from the sidelines. She could sense him feeding off the moment, relishing the confusion he had sown. Tell me what to do, Jonathan said, his voice low and intense. How do I prove to you that I'm not going anywhere? That I want this family, and I will fight for it. Emma took a deep breath, her chest tightening at the weight of her own words. By walking away from him, she said, nodding toward Nathan. You have to show me he doesn't affect you. But that wasn't what Jonathan wanted to hear. The hurt flashed across his face, and for a moment, she wasn't sure if he would comply. The silence felt like it lasted a lifetime, the crowd holding their breath along with them. Let us go. Nathan's callous voice broke the stillness, his confidence unyielding. You both act as if this isn't just a big game. But in the end, you're the one who'll get burned, Emma. Emma felt Jonathan tense beside her. His pride was on the line. She could see him wrestling with the urge to engage, to prove himself. But she couldn't let that happen. Not now. Jonathan, she held his gaze fierce and steady, please trust me. Walk away. He paused, uncertainty clouding his blue eyes. The moment felt like it was poised on the edge of a knife. Then, slowly, he began to nod. But she could see the turbulence below the calm surface. With a final glare at Nathan, Jonathan turned away. Come on, he said, his voice low, barely masking the tension beneath, but as they started to walk away, Nathan's mocking laughter gave her pause. Run away all you want. Just remember, I don't play fair. Emma clenched her fists, torn between relief and anger. Skipping away from confrontation felt like a small defeat. She was not just ending an argument, she was confronting the demons of her past. Are we really leaving? Jonathan asked, casting a glance back toward the crowd, where Nathan stood, basking in the attention and success of igniting their argument, but Emma locked her arm through Jonathan's and dragged him along, her heart pounding in her chest. We need to talk before this escalates beyond anything we can control. What did that mean for them? As they exited the crowded hall, she turned to him, searching for reassurance. Could she trust their love to weather this storm? Or was Nathan right? Were they only pretending to be strong while their foundation shattered beneath them? Jonathan stopped, his expression softening. We'll talk, he promised. But as they left the chaos behind, Emma couldn't shake off the feeling that a storm of different proportions was yet to come. Would facing the truth bind them together or tear them apart even further? Emma led Jonathan away from the chaotic scene, her heart racing. They reached the parking lot, the cold evening air brushing against them like a warning. She stopped, trying to catch her breath, her thoughts swirling chaotically. Why did you let him get to you? Jonathan asked, his voice laced with a mix of frustration and hurt. I'm not afraid of Nathan. I can face him. I know you can. Emma's voice trembled, reflecting her tumultuous emotions. But what good does it do? This isn't just about pride. It's about us. If we keep letting him control the situation, we might lose sight of what we really care about. Jonathan stared into her eyes, searching for the answers he desperately craved. He ran a hand through his hair, his expression warring between anger and confusion. You think walking away is the solution? Just give him the satisfaction. It's not about that. Emma shot back, her emotions boiling over. It's about choosing our battles wisely. I want to protect what we have. And right now, giving Nathan the chance to stir things up is too dangerous. He took a step closer, the intensity of his gaze piercing through her defenses. And what if walking away makes him think he is one? What if it reinforces his belief that he can ruin us? Emma's heart sank. She saw the fear in his eyes, the fear of their love being tested beyond what they could endure. I'm not giving him victory. I'm prioritizing us. We have to be smarter than this. Love isn't just about fighting, it's about finding ways to stay together. The weight of her words hung in the air, and for a brief moment, they stood in silence, feeling the gravity of the situation. Jonathan's breathing slowed, and Emma could see the gears turning in his mind. What if it works out differently? He asked softly. What if walking away opens a door to a place where we can really talk, where we can fix this mess? Emma felt a flicker of hope within her, a tiny flame amidst the chaos. We need to be honest. We need to face our fears together. I don't want this to tear us apart, Jonathan. That is all I'm afraid of. A car engine rumbled in the distance, punctuating their moment. Jonathan nodded slowly, the tension easing in his shoulders. You're right. I'm tired of battling him and carrying this weight all alone. She reached for his hand, intertwining her fingers with his, grounding herself in the warmth of his touch. We can figure this out. Together. Just promise me that whatever happens, we don't lose sight of each other. I promise, he murmured, pulling her closer. But we need a plan. Something that puts him in his place, without jeopardizing what we have. The challenge hung between them, feeling like a storm cloud ready to burst. Emma could taste the urgency, but also the love in Jonathan's gaze. We'll devise a strategy. Something to show we won't back down but won't let him play us like pawns either. As they began to forge a plan, she felt a sense of unity within the storm. But deep down, a seed of worry still lingered. Would their love be strong enough to withstand Nathan's relentless attacks? Just then, Emma noticed a figure lurking at the edge of the parking lot, watching them. Her heart raced again as she turned to Jonathan, who followed her gaze, his expression hardening. What now? He asked, his voice low and tense. Emma swallowed hard, fear rushing back. I think Nathan isn't done yet. What more could he possibly want? Nathan stepped forward from the shadows, a smirk carved on his face, lighting up the somber parking lot. Emma felt a wave of fury and fear wash over her, a rising tide threatening to drag them under again. The chilly air around them seemed to darken with his presence. Thought you could escape so easily, huh? Nathan drawled, his voice smooth like polished stone. You two lovebirds seem to be plotting something. But what if it's all for nothing? Jonathan tightened his grip around Emma's hand, their fingers laced tightly together, creating a silent barrier against Nathan's taunts. Emma could feel Jonathan's heart beating rapidly against his chest, mirroring her own anxious pulse. We're not afraid of you, Nathan, Jonathan said, his voice steady, though she could sense the undercurrent of readiness. You've tried before, and you've only made things worse for yourself. Nathan's laughter echoed in the empty lot, high and mocking. Oh please, you think this is some game? You are just so blissfully unaware of how deep this rabbit hole goes. I can make both of your lives a living hell. It's really just a matter of time. Emma glanced up at Jonathan, their gazes locking in a shared resolve. They had to stand together against Nathan's manipulation, they couldn't allow his threats to scatter their strength. Enough. Emma interjected, her voice sharper than she expected. You don't call the shots anymore. We are done playing by your rules. For a moment, Nathan seemed taken aback, the smirk slipping just slightly. But then he regained composure, stepping even closer. You think this is over, Emma? The moment you forget who you're dealing with is the moment you lose everything. Don't think for 1 second that I want to strike when you're least expecting it. Jonathan shifted, his stance protective. We know you're a snake, Nathan. But you underestimated us. Together, we are stronger. That is something you'll never have. Emma felt a surge of optimism rise within her, Jonathan's words wrapped around her like a safety net. Their bond was real, and they were ready to face whatever Nathan threw their way. This wasn't just about survival, it was about reclaiming their truth, their love. As Nathan's eyes narrowed, she saw the flicker of doubt in his demeanor. They couldn't show weakness, not now. You're just delaying the inevitable, he sneered. But don't worry, I'll be seeing you soon. You can count on that. With that, Nathan turned, slipping back into the shadows from which he de-emerged, leaving an uneasy silence behind him. Emma exhaled slowly, her body still tingling from adrenaline. Is he really gone? She asked, looking up at Jonathan, who was scanning the parking lot, his brow etched with concern. I think so, Jonathan replied, though his voice hung with uncertainty. But we can't let our guard down. We have to be careful. I won't let him jeopardize what we have. Emma nodded firmly, her heart swelling with love and fear at the same time. We've faced so much already. If we stay united, we can withstand this. But we need to be prepared for anything. A sense of readiness ignited between them, the flame of hope fighting back the shadows of uncertainty. They quickly began to discuss their next moves, strategizing in hushed tones, each potential plan weaving them closer together. But even as Emma felt the warmth of solidarity, a nagging doubt crept back. Betrayal came in many forms, and Nathan was relentless. What if they underestimated his cunning? What if they were still playing his game without even knowing it? She glanced back towards the shadows, feeling the weight of Nathan's lingering threat above them. Emma? Jonathan's voice broke through her thoughts. Are you okay? Yeah, she said, but uncertainty clouded her tone. I can shake this feeling that he is watching, waiting. Jonathan frowned, shaking his head as he pulled her closer. We need to find out what he really wants. We can't just run from him. You're right, she said slowly, steeling her resolve. But we need to outsmart him. And fast. As they walked back towards his car, the threat of Nathan loomed large in her mind. What tricks did he have left up his sleeve? Emma knew the worst was yet to come, and they weren't ready for what lay ahead. How could they anticipate his next move when they didn't yet know his endgame? The journey back felt longer than it should have, shadows swallowing the glow from the streetlights. Emma nestled into Jonathan's side, but the warmth between them didn't quell the icy grip of fear in her gut. Quiet murmurs escaped her lips like tremors. What if he really is planning something? He always is, Jonathan replied, his jaw set tight. But this time, we're not going to fall into his traps. They reached his car, and Jonathan swung open the door, illuminating the interior. Emma slid into the passenger seat, wrapping her arms around herself as if to hold off the chill. The moment Jonathan climbed in and shut the door, they were enveloped in the relative safety of metal and glass. But even there, she felt exposed, vulnerable. What do you think he meant by strike when you're least expecting it? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Jonathan turned the key and the engine roared to life, cutting through the heavy silence. It's a mind game. He needs to intimidate us to feel powerful. But he underestimates us. He thinks we're afraid, but we're not. Emma heard conviction in his words, but doubts still loomed like dark clouds. What if he is right? What if this is just the beginning? As they drove through the dimly lit streets, each turn felt laden with potential dangers. Emma stared out the window, watching the world blur by. Nathan wasn't just a nuisance anymore, he had become a literal shadow trailing them, a reminder that they were in uncharted waters. We'll gather information, Jonathan continued, his eyes focused on the road ahead. We'll find a way to turn the tables. I have a few contacts who might know what Nathan has been up to lately. Are you sure about that? She asked, her instinct kicking in. What if he finds out? It could make things worse. Better to know what we're up against than to be blindsided. He glanced at her, concern flickering in his eyes. Trust me. We're in this together. Emma felt a flicker of hope ignite inside her. Jonathan's fierce determination grounds her. I do trust you, she replied, her voice steadier now. But what if we don't have enough time? What if he makes his move before we can react? Then we stay alert. We keep talking. We don't let fear dictate our actions. The car turned onto a deserted road leading to the waterfront. The rhythmic sound of waves crashing against the shore welcomed them, but it felt like a world away from the chaos they needed to confront. The moon shimmered on the water, illuminating the path before them. Emma closed her eyes momentarily, wishing they could escape into the calm that lay just beyond the turmoil. Then, as they approached a vacant parking lot near the docks, Jonathan slammed on the brakes. The sudden jolt brought her back to reality, and Emma's heart raced. What is it? She asked, scanning the area for any sign of danger. There, silhouetted against the moonlight, was Nathan, leaning against a parked car. The smirk was back, colder and sharper than before. He looked like a predator waiting for his prey. Jonathan's expression hardened. Get out of the car, he commanded. Emma's breath caught in her throat. You can't be serious. He's not going to intimidate us. Not this time. They both stepped out, facing Nathan, who approached with an unhurried gait. Well, isn't this cozy? His voice dripped with mockery. Came for a moonlit stroll, did we? Cut the theatrics, Nathan, Jonathan shot back, stepping protectively in front of Emma. What do you want? Nathan came closer, his eyes glistening with mischief. Let us just say I know a few things about you, things that might change your little love story forever. Emma's stomach twisted at the implication. What could Nathan possibly know? What hidden depths was he threatening to reveal? Unless, of course, you're willing to make a deal. He smiled slyly, the glint in his eyes sending a chill down her spine. Deal? Emma challenged, emboldened by Jonathan's presence. What could you possibly offer us? Nathan chuckled, enjoying the dramatic pause. How about your secrets for my silence? Or perhaps I could change the game too. Something more interesting. Emma's mind raced, spinning with possibilities and dread. They were standing on the edge of something dark, something threatening to consume them both. There had to be a way through this. But what would Nathan demand in exchange? What had they stumbled into now? Whatever game you think you're playing, it won't work, Jonathan said, his voice a grounding force. But deep inside, Emma felt the weight of deception begin to fall. A storm was brewing, and it was just getting started. Where would they draw the line when Nathan's game began to shift again? The tension was palpable as Jonathan stood face to face with Nathan. The moonlight illuminated their fierce expressions, a battle of wills in the quiet parking lot. Emma felt the weight of the moment pressing on her heart. She knew Nathan wasn't just playing games anymore, this was serious. Tell me what you want, Nathan, Jonathan said firmly, his voice steady as he shielded Emma with his presence. You're not going to intimidate us. Oh, but I'm not here to intimidate, Nathan replied, his smirk growing. I'm here to negotiate. Negotiate? Emma echoed incredulously, her heart pounding. What could we possibly give you that would make this situation better? Nathan leaned in slightly, lowering his voice to a conspiratorial whisper. I know things about you both. Things that if made public could irreparably harm your lives and your little family to be. Jonathan clenched his fists, the fire of determination sparking in his blue eyes. Go on. How about this? You keep me happy, and I'll keep my mouth shut. We both know I'm the one who holds the cards here, he sneered. Emma's resolve began to waver. What kind of threats did Nathan hold over their heads? How could they escape the grip of his manipulations? Just tell me what you want, Jonathan pressed, his voice stronger than Emma felt inside. You think you can maim our love and take what we've built? You can't. Oh, but I can. How about you drop the acting like the noble husband, and I'll consider letting you keep your precious little secrets. Nathan crossed his arms, reveling in the turmoil he created. Emma felt Jonathan's shoulder tense beside her. She took a breath, stepping forward. You think you can control us with fear? You don't know who we are anymore. Really? Nathan's eyebrow arched in mock surprise. Because everything I see tells me otherwise. But let us take a different approach. You both look quite cozy together. Let us shake things up, drop your guard with me, and I might just keep things civil, he said, looking directly at Jonathan. No, Jonathan replied firmly, you want a fight. You'll get one. But it won't be with us falling into your traps. Such bravado. But you know as well as I do that bravado will get you nowhere. How about this a little wager? Nathan threw out, his tone dripping in condescension. What kind of wager? Emma asked, curiosity weaving into her fear. They were already in a dangerous game, could it possibly get worse? A simple one. If you let me into your little lives, I want to make a move against you. But if you refuse, stop it. Jonathan interjected. You're not making any sense. I want to let you control us. The laughter that followed sent chills down Emma's spine. You have no idea what I'm willing to do. But I will play fair if you give me a reason to. In that moment, everything inside Emma hardened. This isn't about you. This is about our future. And we want to let your greed consume us. Nathan's eyes narrowed, and it momentarily knocked the smug throw from his posture. Spoken like a true heroine, delusional and naive. Just know, whatever you decide, I'm right behind you, watching. Jonathan stepped forward, breathless with raw emotion. You don't scare me, Nathan. Go ahead and try to tear us apart, it will only make us stronger. The quiet night felt electric, the silence between them full of promise and peril. Emma turned to Jonathan, heart racing. If he is willing to make deals, then maybe we have a chance to turn this back on him. Jonathan met her intense gaze and nodded. Exactly. If he is coming for us, we'll be ready. We won't have to play his game, we can outsmart him. With fresh determination igniting in their hearts, Jonathan slipped his hand reassuringly around Emma's waist. We'll expose him. We'll find a way to gather information about him, something he is hiding. Nathan's laughter bubbled ominously behind them. Good luck with that, but know that shadows linger. And when the night falls, I'll be right there. Ignoring him, Jonathan turned to Emma. You're my priority. Together, we'll fight against this. Emma's heart swelled with love. We will win together. Renewed hope glimmered between them like the stars overhead. They would not allow Nathan's darkness to overshadow their dreams or destroy their love. As they drove away from the confrontation, the weight of fear lifted only to be replaced by fierce resolve. This war had just begun, and they were ready for whatever came next. Let us dig in, Jonathan said, determination sharpening his features. We'll reach out to our contacts. We'll stand united, unfazed by his threats. I'll back you up every step of the way, Emma affirmed, her heart bursting with hope as they shared a fleeting smile. As they cruised through the night, illuminated by the glow of headlights, they felt invincible. Side by side, they were prepared to navigate this messy, beautiful journey. Not just for themselves, but for their future and their unborn child. Emma squeezed Jonathan's hand, a spark of delight igniting her spirit. We're doing this, together. Driven by love, awareness, and their fierce connection, they realized they had the power, not Nathan. No matter how many times he set his traps, they would rise together, stronger and more united than ever. As they faced an uncertain future, they held each other close, instilling courage in one another. This was their time to shine, and with each challenge that arose, they were ready to conquer it as a family. Hope grew in Emma's heart, a steadfast flame against the darkness surrounding them. Together, they were unstoppable, and with that, they drove toward the dawn of a new beginning, fearless and ready to take on the world. So, what are you waiting for? You need to subscribe now to keep up with this inspiring journey and not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Your support means everything. Comment below with your reactions and thoughts about this ending, and don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Join our community and stand with us. We can't do this without you.